Disney just announced a very disappointing $90 million for the opening Friday in the North American market for The Rise of Skywalker. Now, $90 million on your opening day is a very nice amount of money for nearly any other movie. This isn't any other movie. This is a Disney Star Wars trilogy film. It is the end of the so-called Skywalker saga, and it has unfortunately continued the trend of Disney films doing worse in their opening weekends compared to the previous Disney film. With the first 6 Star Wars movies, they all outdid the previous movies in their opening weekend. The Empire Strikes Back outdid Star Wars A New Hope on its opening day and opening weekend. Return of the Jedi earned more money on its opening day and its opening weekend compared to The Empire Strikes Back. Phantom Menace earned more on its opening weekend than what The Last Jedi earned. Attack of the Clones outdid The Phantom Menace, and Revenge of the Sith outdid Attack of the Clones. So all of those films had better opening weekends than the previous films. Here with Disney, The Force Awakens has the best opening weekend. The second film has the second best opening weekend, and the last film here has the last opening weekend, has the worst opening weekend, with $90 million on its first day. Now that we have 2 days of data, Thursday and Friday, we can make a bit more of an accurate projection as to where it might be at the end of the first week. This chart here has got 4 films on it. We have The Force Awakens in blue, we have The Last Jedi in red, we have the projected earnings for The Rise of Skywalker in green, and we have Rogue One in purple. And you can see that The Rise of Skywalker will clearly earn less money than The Last Jedi in the first week, but it is also closer to what Rogue One made than The Last Jedi, which is a fairly catastrophic result, since Rogue One, and I guess really Solo, were standalone films and they earned such a low amount of money, Disney decided to stop the standalone films. So it looks like this trilogy film could perhaps earn something similar to the non-trilogy film Rogue One, and again, it does look like at this stage it's not going to beat The Last Jedi in its box office. Now, it is still extremely early. It's only Friday, so things can definitely pick up. Everything can change. But if things stay the way they are, that is, Thursday was less than The Last Jedi's Thursday, Friday is also less than The Last Jedi's Friday, there's not really any reason to think that Saturday and Sunday would suddenly pick up over the top. So right now, it does look like The Rise of Skywalker is not going to earn the same kind of money that The Last Jedi earned. Here we have the raw numbers for the 4 films. The first thing, obviously, to look at in the future now is what happens tomorrow, what happens on the Saturday box office. It's very unlikely that Saturday for The Rise of Skywalker will outperform the Saturday for The Last Jedi. Now that both Thursday and Friday have been clearly beaten by The Last Jedi, very difficult that Saturday would in fact beat The Last Jedi. Sunday is our main thing to look at here to see if we have a collapse in the Rise of Skywalker box office. That'll give us our first real indication that there's big problems ahead from where it is right now. And then Monday, that's really where we might see any chance of a recovery and whether or not Rise of Skywalker will in fact earn more money in its total box office run compared to The Last Jedi. If you look across on the left-hand side to where The Force Awakens is, if you look next to day number 4, that is the Monday, The Force Awakens got $40 million on its first Monday, which is really the reason why it is still the biggest film in the North American market. It earned a phenomenal amount of money during the weekdays. Yes, it was in December in a holiday period, so was The Last Jedi. And The Last Jedi, if you look across to what it got half. It got $21 million, which is still a nice amount of money, but it got half of what The Force Awakens got. So it's entirely possible that The Rise of Skywalker could outdo this $21 million that The Last Jedi got and make a bit of a comeback during the weekdays. Okay, there's no reason necessarily to think that it will or it won't, but because of the huge amount of money The Force Awakens was able to do, it's likely that The Rise of Skywalker could do something similar. I'm not saying $40 million, but it could earn more than the $21 million that The Last Jedi got. Now, on the other hand, the other thing to look at is the film on the right-hand side. Rogue One managed to get $17 million for its Monday, which is in itself a pretty phenomenal amount of money, particularly for a non-franchise film. So if The Rise of Skywalker can't get about $17 million, that's really our first indication that it may not actually earn as much money as Rogue One, which is just a ridiculously poor result for a trilogy film to not beat the standalone film. So they're the main 2 things really going forward, other than obviously Saturday and Sunday, is Is it going to get more than the $21 million on Monday that The Last Jedi got, or is it going to get less than the $17 million that Rogue One got? That'll give us a bit of an idea as to whether or not it can beat The Last Jedi, or whether or not it will be beat by Rogue One. On the international front, things are looking okay in most markets except for China. China is looking absolutely terrible. Here we have The Last Jedi's box office in China in blue and The Rise of Skywalker's box office in red. On the left-hand side, you can see the first 4 days of earnings for each of them. After 4 full days, The Rise of Skywalker has slightly under $10 million, and The Last Jedi had about $27 million. So nearly 1/3 of the money. Absolutely terrible result. Now, The Rise of Skywalker was released on a Wednesday in China, and The Last Jedi was released on a Thursday. So if we look at the chart on the right-hand side, that's just adjusted the different days. And you can see that The Rise of Skywalker had a lead on Wednesday and Thursday, but after that it has been absolutely smashed with its very, very weak Friday and Saturday earnings. So no matter how you do the chart, absolutely terrible result for The Rise of Skywalker in China. Other than comparing the film to some Star Wars films, another good comparison is the Lion King movie from this year. The Lion King movie is currently the second biggest film of the year after Avengers Endgame. Can The Rise of Skywalker out-earn it in the US domestic market? That is a good question to answer. Can it out-earn it in the international market? That is a much tougher ask. $1.6 billion is what The Lion King got. The Last Jedi only got $1.3 billion, and The Rise of Skywalker is lagging behind that, and it's certainly not going to get any help from China. So The Rise of Skywalker is going to completely struggle internationally to beat Lion King, but can it beat the Lion King in the US domestic market? We shall see. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.